Peace be upon you all, my dear sisters and brothers. Today, I want to speak to my beloved sisters in faith with sincerity, love, and a desire for growth. This message is not to belittle or shame, but to awaken strength, dignity, and faith in the hearts of women who may have forgotten their worth. The title may sound harsh, but sometimes we need a gentle reminder with firm words. So let's reflect together. Here are 5 things weak women do and how to avoid them. 1. They seek validation from the wrong places. A weak woman allows society, trends, or even strangers on social media to define her worth. She'll dress a certain way, speak a certain way, post certain things just for attention, likes, or compliments. But my dear sister, your value is not in someone's approval. Your Creator already told you that you were honored. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. 49. 13. Strength is in knowing who you are without needing constant affirmation. Let your self-worth come from your faith, not your followers. 2. They stay in harem relationships hoping for halal endings. A weak woman remains attached to a man who does not honor Allah in his dealings with her. She convinces herself that one day, somehow, he'll change, or that a sinful start can lead to a blessed marriage. My sister, if he's not willing to do things the right way, he is not worth your heart. Strength is walking away from anything that distances you from your Lord. Remember, what begins with disobedience rarely ends in peace. 3. They compete with other women instead of supporting them. A weak woman sees other women as rivals. She envies their beauty, their marriage, their success. She gossips, she compares, and her heart becomes heavy with bitterness. But strength is in sisterhood. A strong woman sees another woman's success and says, "May Allah bless her and grant me the same." There is room for all of us to shine, and real queens fix each other's crowns. 4. They allow emotions to control their actions. Yes, we all feel sadness, anger, or frustration. But a weak woman lets her emotions dictate her every move. She lashes out, she posts things in anger, she holds grudges. A strong woman pauses, she reflects. She speaks with calmness even when she's hurt. Our beloved Prophet said, "The strong one is not the one who can wrestle, but the one who can control himself at the time of anger." The same applies to our beautiful sisters. 5. They neglect their relationship with Allah when life gets busy. A weak woman remembers Allah only when she's desperate during heartbreak, illness, or hardship. But when life is easy, she forgets to pray, to give, to grow. A strong woman builds her connection with her Lord consistently in ease and in difficulty. She wakes up before the world does, just to raise her hands and say, "Ya Allah, guide me." That is strength. That is power. That is peace. Many women today find themselves constantly searching for validation not from within, not from their Creator, but from people around them. This need for approval becomes a quiet addiction. It begins subtly, a compliment here, a like on a photo there, a message from someone that makes her feel noticed. Before she realizes it herself, worth becomes tied to how others perceive her. Her confidence rises and falls with the number of comments, the attention she receives, or the praise she's given. If no one notices her outfit, she feels less beautiful. If no one compliments her achievements, she feels unaccomplished. This is the dangerous trap of external validation. A woman who constantly seeks validation from others begins to lose herself. She changes her personality to please different people. She says what others want to hear, not what she truly believes. She wears what others find attractive, not what brings her closer to modesty. She shares personal parts of her life with the world, just for a fleeting moment of attention, a few seconds of being seen, of being told she is enough. But the truth is, when that attention fades, and it always does, she is left emptier than before. This pursuit is endless because people's opinions are never stable. One day they cheer you on, the next day they criticize you. One moment they say you're beautiful, the next they find flaws. Building your self-esteem on people's words is like building a house on sand. It crumbles the moment the wind changes. And the problem is not that people are harsh, the problem is that we allowed their words to weigh more than they should. When a woman does not understand her worth through the lens of her creator, she starts to look for it in places that only weaken her spirit. She may compromise her values just to fit in. She may laugh at jokes that make her uncomfortable. She may post pictures that reveal more than she should just to feel attractive. But deep down, she knows this is not who she truly is. Her heart whispers, "This is not you," but the noise of society drowns it out. The one who created you already told you your worth. You don't need to expose yourself for praise. You don't need to compete with filtered faces or curated lives. You don't need to break your boundaries to feel seen. Your value was already declared in the Quran. Asterisk, indeed, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Asterisk 49. 13. Not the most followed, not the most fashionable, not the most desired, but the most righteous. Validation from people is temporary and shallow. What is praised today may be mocked tomorrow. But when a woman turns to Allah for her validation, everything changes. She no longer seeks attention, she seeks acceptance. She no longer looks to impress creation, she focuses on pleasing her creator. She stands firm in who she is, not because people admire her, but because she knows Allah sees her, and that is enough. She no longer changes to fit every crowd. She walks with quiet confidence. She can dress modestly without feeling boring. She can be gentle without being weak. She can speak truth without fearing rejection, because her heart is not in the hands of people anymore. It belongs to the one who made it, and when that happens, she is no longer a weak woman chasing empty praise. She is strong, not loud, not boastful, but firm, content, and grounded. One of the most common traits seen in those who are emotionally weak is the inability to control their emotions. A woman who allows her emotions to dictate her every action is someone who often finds herself overwhelmed, misunderstood, and spiritually unsettled. She becomes a prisoner to her feelings, reacting in ways that may harm herself or others without even realizing it. This does not mean that having emotions is a weakness. Far from it. Emotions are part of being human, but when they are not managed through wisdom and patience, they can cause more damage than good. There are moments in life when sadness strikes deeply. A disappointment, a betrayal, a failure, or a loss. The emotional response to these events is natural. Crying, feeling low, or even being hurt is not wrong, but the issue arises when those emotions turn into permanent behavior. A woman may shut herself off from the world, blame others for her sadness, or even start questioning her worth and her connection with Allah. She allows the pain to define her, rather than using the pain to grow stronger in character and faith. Likewise, anger is another emotion that can take over without warning. A weak woman may lash out in anger when things don't go her way. She may say hurtful things to people she loves, send messages in a state of rage, or publicly shame someone out of frustration. And after the storm passes, she feels guilt and regret, but the damage is already done. The tongue is like a weapon when driven by unchecked anger. What is said in a moment of emotion can take years to heal or may never be forgotten. Emotional weakness also shows in impatience. A woman may want immediate results in everything in her career, her marriage, her children, her personal growth. When things don't unfold as quickly as she expects, she becomes restless and resentful. She might question Allah's timing, compare her journey with others, or make hasty decisions that later bring regret. Patience is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to remain steady despite feeling overwhelmed. That strength is what separates those who succeed in the long run from those who burn out early. Another sign of emotional instability is making decisions based on mood rather than values. A weak woman might stop praying because she doesn't feel connected. She may abandon her modesty because she's tired of being judged. She might hold grudges for years because she doesn't feel ready to forgive. But feelings are like waves, they come and go. If we anchor ourselves to emotions, we will constantly drift. A strong woman makes choices based on what is right, not what feels easy. Sometimes weakness appears through the desire to be understood all the time. A woman may keep explaining herself, overthinking every word, trying to make everyone like her or agree with her. This emotional exhaustion comes from wanting constant approval, and it stems from a deep fear of rejection. But no matter how good, kind, or wise a woman is, not everyone will see her heart clearly. That's okay. Part of emotional strength is being at peace with being misunderstood. A woman who learns to regulate her emotions becomes a source of peace, not chaos. She doesn't overreact to every situation. She observes, reflects, and responds with calm. This doesn't mean she suppresses her feelings, it means she channels them in ways that are healthy, wise, and aligned with her faith. She knows that strength is not found in shouting louder, crying longer, or cutting deeper. It is found in pausing when she's angry, praying when she's hurt, and speaking only when words will benefit. Faith is the foundation upon which a strong woman builds her life. When this foundation is weak or neglected, everything else begins to crumble. Her decisions, her self-worth, her patience, and even her relationships. A woman who lacks faith or pushes it to the side when life becomes busy, difficult, or tempting, finds herself emotionally and spiritually drained. She may still appear successful on the outside, but inside she feels a deep void. Her connection with her Creator is what anchors her, and without it, she becomes vulnerable to confusion, sadness, and instability. When a woman prioritizes everything in life over her faith, she unknowingly chooses a path of weakness. She'll make time for work, socializing, beauty routines, or scrolling endlessly through her phone. But when it comes to Salah, it is delayed or skipped altogether. When she faces stress, she turns to distractions, music, movies, or people, for comfort, rather than raising her hands in dua or opening the Quran. These habits may bring temporary relief, but they do not offer lasting peace. She ends up seeking strength in things that are unstable, and this only leaves her feeling more empty. Sometimes faith is treated like a backup plan. A woman may only turn to Allah when every other door has shut. When her heart is broken, when her plans fall apart, when people disappoint her, that's when she remembers to pray or ask Allah for help. While turning back to Him is always a blessing, it reveals a deeper weakness if He was never part of the picture to begin with. A strong woman doesn't wait for life to fall apart before she connects with her Lord. She builds that relationship during ease, so when hardship strikes, her heart remains firm. Neglecting faith also shows in how a woman carries herself. She might chase worldly goals without considering what pleases or displeases Allah. She may adopt lifestyles, habits, and dress that reflect trends instead of values. Her choices are influenced more by what society celebrates than what Islam teaches. But trends change, opinions shift, and the standards of the world are constantly moving. When a woman follows the crowd, she loses her sense of direction. When she follows her faith, she walks with purpose, even if she walks alone. Faith gives clarity, but a woman who weakens her connection with Allah begins to lose sight of what matters. She may become anxious over the smallest things, overthink every decision, and fear the future excessively. She may lose sleep worrying about things that are outside of her control, but the woman who nurtures her faith trusts in the plan of Allah. She understands that what is meant for her will reach her, and what is not meant for her will pass her by. This level of trust brings a calmness that no worldly success can provide. A weak woman may also let go of her acts of worship because she feels unworthy. She tells herself, "I'm not good enough to pray," or "I'll start when I become better," but that mindset only keeps her distant. Faith is not about perfection, it's about sincerity. A strong woman keeps showing up for her salah, her Quran, her repentance, even when she doesn't feel like it. She knows that these acts are not a performance, but a lifeline. She relies on them to keep her grounded, centered, and close to her Lord. When faith is missing, so is gratitude. A woman may have countless blessings, yet still feel unhappy because she is not spiritually awake. She compares her life to others and focuses on what's missing, not what she has. But faith teaches her to be grateful even when things aren't perfect. It reminds her that tests are not punishments, they are opportunities for growth. That every pain she endures is seen by the one who created her. That even when no one understands her, Allah does.